you from Invesco Field at Mile High in Denver, Colorado. And action from the AFC West. The Denver Broncos and the Oakland Raiders both at 2-4. Kansas City with a victory earlier today. The Chiefs leading the division at 4-2. A lot of history between these two teams. 100th regular season meeting. First one back in October of 1960. It's now spanned 50 years. Ian Eagle along with Dan Fouts. The weather here in Denver, 64 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Oakland has won the toss. They've elected to receive, and Denver will kick it off. Broncos a 24-20 loss to the Jets last week. Raiders 17-9 loss at San Francisco. We are underway. A Mile High. Prater kicking off. Jacoby Ford will take a knee, and the Raiders will have it at the 20-yard line to open things up. Jason Campbell. Tough numbers last week in that loss to San Francisco. He actually sprained his left knee. Question marks this week as to whether or not he would start. Dan, he's in there for Oakland. Yeah, he practices on a limited basis throughout the week. He told us yesterday it's important for the Raiders to throw the ball deep early against the Broncos secondary. The Raiders need some big plays out of their passing game today. Open up with a 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line for Oakland. Last week, a season low, 179 yards of offense. Campbell to throw on the slant. He makes the connection with Louis Murphy. And they get things started on the right foot with a 9-yard pickup. Parrish Cox there defensively for Denver. Let's check out the starting offense for the Oakland Raiders. At left tackle, Jared Veldier. He's the rookie out of Hillsdale who started the season as their starting center. Backs and receivers, Darren McFadden is back. McFadden, a hamstring injury, suffered it against Houston. He's missed the last 2 games because of it. 2nd and less than a yard for Oakland. On a pitch, McFadden, spin move. He got stood up right at the 30. We'll see if forward progress gives him enough for the first down. Joe Mays, first man there defensively for Denver. Big hit by Joe Mays. The Broncos are hurting on their defense. A lot of substitutions today. As we take a look at the starting defense, Jamal Williams has really picked things up over the last couple of weeks. The former San Diego Charger. Linebackers, DJ Williams playing at a Pro Bowl level right now for Denver. And in that secondary, no Brian Dawkins, no Andre Goodman either. Nate Jones starting at safety. 3rd and inches. Play clock is winding down. Miller is the motion man. Oakland to the up man, Marcel Reese. And Reese has got the first down. New set of downs for Oakland to work with as Reese picks up 2 yards. And Jamal Williams there to make the stop. That's the 8th carry of the season for Reese, the 2nd-year fullback out of Washington. Well, the Raiders feel they've got a real good 1-2 punch with McFadden now being healthy and, of course, Michael Bush. And the high altitude here at Denver, very important to be substituting, alternating your backs so you can keep them fresh. Bush had big numbers last year in the victory over Denver here at Invesco, 133 yards and a touchdown in a victory. Campbell, soft toss. It's handled by Miller and angled towards the sideline. Zach Miller makes the catch for a 5-yard gain. Nate Jones makes the stop, the safety. Trying to get Jason Campbell into a rhythm because last week it was just a disaster for Campbell. You can see the point scored, the passing yards, just 69 yards. 49ers have a good defense, but the Raiders just missed so many opportunities in that ball game and only could manage 3 field goals from Janikowski. Bruce Gradkowski would have been the starter, but that injured shoulder not allowing him to play. Cable hoping to have him back next week. He believes his team would be 5-1 if Gradkowski was healthy. Campbell. Good throw, and it's ruled incomplete. Champ Bailey took it away. The intended receiver, Louis Murphy, as Campbell tried to make the connection with his 2nd-year wideout from Florida. Louis Murphy, who's having a pretty good season for the Raiders, but watch Champ Bailey come in here, and he'll strip the ball with his left hand. Ball on the ground. That's a good call by the officials. There you can see the ball clearly out as Murphy hits the turf. Great play by a great player, Champ Bailey. So it was never a clean catch. Bailey was able to break it up before Murphy could control it. Sidquan Thompson checks in as the 5th defensive back. Denver crowding the line, and Campbell needs a timeout. So Jason Campbell using a timeout at the 12:33 mark of this first quarter. And Campbell got banged around last week, including a play in the third quarter in that loss to San Francisco where he sprained his left knee. Campbell trying to make a play. He got stepped on by Valdir. And Campbell was able to get out of bounds, but could feel the effects of that injury.
Yeah, and that really affected his preparation for this game against the Broncos. The Raiders even practiced at one time with Shane Leckler taking snaps with the first team offense because of the injuries to Campbell and to Bruce Gradkowski. Gradkowski will be the third quarterback today. Kyle Bowler is ready if he's called upon.
Kyle Bowler 0-10 in his last 10 starts in the NFL. Mostly with the Baltimore Ravens and then last year with St. Louis. So 3rd and 5. This crowd is energetic early. Campbell working out of the gun. Hugh Jackson, offensive coordinator. Campbell throws. Flag was down.
We had movement before the ball was snapped. That crowd so loud it cost one of the offensive linemen to jump.
3rd down. And that's Jared Valdir, former Division II standout, starting at left tackle for Mario Henderson.
Well, let's watch Valdir here. He's 6'7", 6'8" actually, 315, big guy there, and he's on the end of the line of scrimmage, so difficult for him to hear the cadence of Jason Campbell.
Most penalty yards in the NFL, the Oakland Raiders. Dime package here for Denver. On a 3rd and 10 now for Oakland. Working from the gun. Campbell, he's got room to run. And Campbell's got a first down. Scrambles out of trouble, and Nate Jones trying to bring him down. Campbell's a big guy himself at 6'5", 230 pounds. That's a 15-yard run.
Well, I think his left knee's okay, Ian. Really do. This is a good decision to see that the man-to-man coverage in the secondary. A couple of good little jabs there with his left hand to keep Jones away from him. He gets to the sidelines. That's a clean hit out of bounds, taking him out of bounds by Nate Jones.
Campbell wearing a sleeve on that left knee that's underneath the pants. On first down, inside run for Reese.
Like the Raiders wanted to run a little read option play there that time. Reese was the first choice. It looked like Campbell, if he pulls it out, he was going to come down the line of scrimmage and run an option play.
And Reese, a 5-yard pick, a versatile guy. Brandon Myers is out, the backup tight end, because of a concussion, so Reese can slot in at that position if necessary. Plays fullback, tight end. 2nd and 5, 8th play of this opening drive. An impressive one for Oakland to start things off. Campbell on the reverse, Jacoby Ford. And Ford gets out of bounds. He's got another Oakland first down. Good block by Zach Miller to help spring Ford loose for a 6-yard pickup.
Well, the Raiders look so much better already in this game than they did last week against the Niners. Good job getting out in front. Zach Miller, the tight end, working on Champ Bailey right there. And how about that effort by Jacoby Ford? Ford, who goes just 5'9", 185, easily lowered his shoulder, got out of bounds in front of Tom Cable, 6 yards and a first down.
Khalif Barnes is out there as an extra offensive lineman. That's number 69, the veteran out of Washington, former Jacksonville Jaguar. On first down, fake the handoff. Wide open, Zach Miller, he's gone. Touchdown, Oakland. Beautiful play call and well executed by the Raiders. 43 yards to go in front.
Zach Miller lining up as a tight end, totally lost by the Raiders, by the Broncos when you, after the play action and everything. Beautiful execution by the Raiders. 43 yards.
Janikowski on for the extra point. 9 plays, 80 yards. And the Raiders open up this game with a bang in Denver. Jason Campbell. That scramble to keep this drive alive, and then eventually the Raiders get the big play to the tight end Miller.
Well, the Raiders gave it a look like it was going to be a power running formation to the right side. Here is Zach Miller. Watch all the action go this way in the secondary. Both Raider wide receivers, Murphy and Hayward Bay, and how wide open is Zach Miller? He can't believe it. He's looking around for somebody to close on him. Nobody even close. One more time. He comes through here and then down here, but the key is that both the wide receivers cleared out the secondary of the Broncos.
Dan, last week Miller was held to 2 catches for 48 yards. So far, he's got 2 catches for 48 yards on the opening drive for Oakland and the touchdown.
You just couldn't have had a better opening drive than this for Oakland. 80 yards, Jason Campbell doing it with his legs. And how about the creative play there called by Hugh Jackson to get the tight end off that running look. You know, you talked about the extra offensive lineman, Khalif Barnes, coming in. He was the wing back outside of Zach Miller. That allowed Denver to be fooled.
Raiders kick it off. Sebastian Janikowski, Demaryius Thomas, the deep man. And we could see a whole lot of touchbacks here today. Raiders with a 7-0 lead over Denver, 10:44 to play in the first quarter, and the Broncos will have the football for the first time here today at the 20-yard line. Kyle Orton leads this Denver offense. Orton 1,942 yards passing. That's the highest total through 6 games in franchise history. And the Broncos open up with a 3-receiver set. Noshawn Moreno in the backfield for Denver. Play fake. Orton to throw, sideline route, it's intercepted. Chris Johnson for the touchdown, a pick 6. 30-yard return for Johnson, and calamity for Denver early in this one.
Trying to get Jabbar Gaffney on a deep out route, but a super job by Chris Johnson, who's come under fire from a lot of folks with his play in the secondary for the Raiders this year. He could not have made a better play. He eyeballed the quarterback, broke on the ball, and then took it home.
Johnson subbed in as the nickel back on the first play from scrimmage for Denver. And look what it leads to. A 14-0 advantage for the Oakland Raiders as Janikowski adds the extra point. Broncos don't know what hit them.
This is quite a 1-2 punch. This is the route by Gaffney. Look at how the double coverage on the outside. Branch was playing deep on the inside. That allowed Johnson to settle down and read back into the backfield. Look at Orton break on the ball, and what a start for the Oakland Raiders.
That gives Oakland the 14-0 lead. How do they get the 7-0 lead? Wide open. The tight end Zach Miller delivered by Jason Campbell for the long touchdown.
And the one thing that Tom Cable talked to us a little bit about yesterday was how do we get our quarterback in a rhythm? And it's been puzzling with Jason Campbell. He hesitates a little bit. He's had poor pass protection. But this type of start with a 14-point lead, this is how you get anybody in rhythm.
So the Raiders will kick it off again with Janikowski. Demaryius Thomas standing in his own end zone for Denver. 10:36 to play, first quarter, and the Raiders have jumped out to a 14-0 lead. And Thomas will take a knee. Broncos will have it at the 20-yard line. Let's take a look at this Denver starting offense. And on the offensive line, they've mixed and matched. They've had so many changes. 5 different offensive line combinations through the first 6 weeks. Looks like Zane Beadles has settled in at right tackle in front of Brian Harris, who just isn't 100%. Backs and receivers. Noshawn Moreno is back. And right now, Tim Tebow is in for Denver. Tebow operating out of the gun to Thomas. And Thomas lost the football at the end of the play.
They're saying he's down,
though.
up
By Houston, but he was down.
But a fine defensive play one more time for the Raiders. Not fooled at all. with Tebow coming in to run the Wildcat, or as they call it here in Denver, the swamp package. Demaryius Thomas, the rookie, check out his knees. That ball is out. That's a fumble. That should be another touchdown for Oakland. They're discussing it now, the officials are, and this should be challenged by Tom Cable.
Michael Huff knocked it free. Tom Cable running down the sideline to chuck the red flag.
Yeah, there's got to be a better system than chucking a red flag, don't you think? This could have cost the Raiders big time here.
Challenge that the runner lost control of football prior to being down by contact. Timeout.
What a start for the Oakland Raiders, and it could get even better.
Stanford route is number 26. He's going to make the tackle on Demaryius Thomas. Michael Huff comes in with a right hand, punches the ball out.
After review, the runner lost possession prior to being down by contact. The ball belongs to Oakland at the 21-yard line while they recover. Oakland was not charged with a timeout. First down.
So they do not get the touchdown, but they do get possession as the play was whistled dead.
Yeah, the officials come in and they whistle that at first they thought that Demaryius Thomas's knee was down, but once the recovery is made here, it'll be Raider ball at the 21-yard line. Great challenge by Tom Cable, and a good job by the replay booth. And Terry McCauley is seeing that that ball was out before Thomas's knee was down.
What a shaky start this has been for Denver. On the flip side, the Oakland Raiders with a 14-0 lead. They can add to it here. Another handoff for Reese. Keeps the legs churning, extends the arm, and picks up 4 yards. Mays there along with Bannon to bring down the fullback.
Nightmare start for the Broncos offensively.
Josh McDaniels, first divisional game for the Broncos. 6 of their final 10 games are in the division. He told us, hey, if we take care of those games, we'll be in excellent shape to win this division. Raiders have the upper hand, a 14-0 lead, and a 2nd and 6. We're still early in the first quarter. Fake the handoff. Campbell swings it out for McFadden. Look at the running room. And McFadden is brought down inside the 5. DJ Williams with a shove towards the sideline. Raiders with a 1st and goal.
And this is another one of those read option type of plays. Instead of optioning it, he's going to swing it out to McFadden after the fake to Marcel Reese. Another creative play design by Hugh Jackson, taking advantage of McFadden's speed to the corner and getting down inside the 5 to the 4. 12 yards on that gain. Right now the Broncos are reeling defensively and obviously offensively.
But the Raiders have to use another timeout. They use their 2nd timeout with 9:02 to play in the first. Already up 14-0. The skate park in downtown Denver. The Broncos have already had a couple of spills. Hugh Jackson, he and Jason Campbell have been on the same page so far. 14-0 lead. 1st and goal inside the 5. Oakland can add to it. Handoff. McFadden untouched. Touchdown Raiders. Oakland is blowing out the Broncos here in the first quarter.
Now, you usually don't want to use your timeouts this early in the ball game, but this was a good one for Oakland because they get exactly what they want on the left side. Great job of kicking out there by Cooper Carlisle. Right guard coming on the trap, and a walk-in touchdown for McFadden.
Fumble recovery by Lamar Houston. Route with the tackle. Huff with the forced fumble on Demaryius Thomas. That gave the Raiders the football at the Denver 21, and they march right in for a 21-0 lead in the first. Back in Invesco, Oakland with a 21-0 lead over Denver here in the broadcast booth. Ian Eagle along with Hall of Famer Dan Fouts. How do I put this? Wow.
Well, Stanford route made the play, and I think we're at the early stages of a route. It'll be interesting to see now what Denver does because there's so much time left. Yep. We have 9 minutes left to go in the first quarter, down 21-0.
Yep, Denver now looking to respond. They've had 2 offensive plays, 2 turnovers so far. Orton threw a pick, and then Demaryius Thomas with the fumble recovered by Oakland. And really, in essence, that should have been a touchdown for Houston. The play was whistled dead. Denver was given second life, although it was still a turnover. Broncos allowed McFadden to go in for the touchdown and a 21-0 lead for the Oakland Raiders. Both teams enter action at 2-4 in the AFC West. Janikowski kicking it off and kicking it through the end zone. From a mile high, we go to the Big Apple. NFL Today update in JV.
Ian and Dan, thanks to Ray Lewis stripping the ball from a receiver in OT. Billy Cundiff for Baltimore nailing that 38-yarder game winner for Baltimore. Buffalo remains the only winless team in the league. Baltimore pulling it out. Ian and Dan.
Well, for the Baltimore Ravens, that vaunted defense, Ryan Fitzpatrick carved them up, but it's Baltimore that gets the victory in OT. Orton, play fake, and floats it out for Spencer Larson down the sideline. And Larson tackled from behind. Rolando McClain, the rookie from Alabama, able to chase him down, but it's a 29-yard gain, the catch and run.
You know, all this talent that the Broncos have receiving the ball, you don't expect the fullback slash linebacker, Spencer Larson, to be the primary receiver, but there he is down the sidelines with his first catch of the year. Good for 29 yards.
And a first down out near midfield. Double tight end set. On the ground, Moreno with a stop and go. Moreno looked like he was going to get stood up at the line of scrimmage. It's a 6-yard gain as Tommy Kelly missed him initially. Defensively for the Oakland Raiders. Strong up front, including Trevor Scott returning to that position at defensive end. They were dealing with some injuries, including Quentin Groves, and Groves is back. He was nursing a hamstring strain. And in that secondary, they're tough on that back line, as we saw earlier in this game, including Nnamdi Asomugha, the two-time Pro Bowler. Fake the handoff. Orton, under duress, forced to throw it down to the ground towards Gaffney. Pressure came from Kelly and Seymour from Oakland. So now a 3rd and 4. The Raiders, their last lead of 21 or more points. It came right here at Denver, November of 2008. That was a victory for Tom Cable and company. They've won their last 2 trips here at Invesco.
And asking Tom about that, he says that has nothing, will have no effect on today's game. The fact that they've won 2, but they're off to an awfully good start today.
And a timeout here in Denver. The MetLife Blimp providing today's aerial coverage here in Denver. Look for the MetLife Blimps as they team up with CBS for more coverage throughout the season. 3rd and 4. J.D. Walton was forced to go out. He lost his shoe. That was the timeout. Hochstein steps in at center, and Stanley Daniels is in at left guard. On 3rd down, Orton gets rid of it. Catch is made, but not enough for a first down. No Sean Moreno. And it looks like he came up short.
Great tackle by Mike Mitchell. It looked like for a minute that Moreno may have been able to spin back to the inside and get away from Mitchell, but Mitchell's one of the more aggressive safeties. Look at this tackle, grabbing him by the shoulders and keeping him short of the first down. When you're down 21-0, you go for it on 4th down.
And they're on Oakland's end of the field, so a 4th and 1. Just short of the 42-yard line. Broncos need something to pick them up. And it's not going to come there. Incomplete. Mitchell with the hit on Eddie Royal. It caromed in the direction of Moreno. Broncos turn it over on downs. The Raiders take over. 7:12 to go. First quarter. It's been all Oakland. Oakland Raiders have lost 4 in a row on the road. They've looked very comfortable so far here in Denver. A 21-0 lead, and they've got the football. We still have just over 7 minutes to play in the opening quarter. Ball at the 43-yard line. And flags come down.
False start. Offense number 68. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And our referee, Terry McCauley, here today. Well, this is how things started. Campbell to Zach Miller for the long touchdown to get Oakland on the board. Then Kyle Orton, first play from scrimmage, intercepted by Johnson, takes it back for a touchdown. Broncos get the football back. Thomas the fumble. Raiders then turned it into a touchdown run from Darren McFadden. 7 plays, 2 turnovers, and they didn't get it on 4th down to give Oakland the football back. A 1st and 15. The pitch. McFadden, big running lane, and McFadden out of bounds. Valdir with a key block on that left side. And the Oakland Raiders are dominating right now. 40-yard rip.
Well, when you got the speed of McFadden and great blocking, watch Valdir get out here in front. It was just offsides the last time. Been offsides twice today. That's a key block there, and then the speed. That's why McFadden was taken #1 a couple of years back out of Arkansas. That type of speed.
Longest run of the season for a running back for Oakland. Murphy actually had a 43-yard run last week. Bush now in there for Oakland. And Bush gets to the outside. Anything Oakland does, it's working. Valdir with another good block, and that's a 9-yard gain. Bush brings a different dynamic than McFadden.
Well, it's that thunder and lightning, if you will, 1-2 type of punch. Bush with real good job. Watch him play off the block here. Valdir gets in behind Reese, but that ability to jump to the outside, now he lowers his head and picks up another 9 yards.
2nd and 1 for the Raiders. 21-0 leading Denver. First down for Bush as he's banged down inside the 10.
And that dimension, him being the Thunder at 245 pounds. Great power. And of course McFadden with the speed to get around the corner.
Yeah, we asked Bush about his performance last year against Denver, 133 yards and a touchdown. He said, we actually had a lot of plays that were designed to go up the middle, but because Denver's a free-flowing defense, if you stay patient, wait for holes, you can take advantage.
And that's exactly what he's done.
1st and goal, inside the 10. Handoff. And Bush brought down very quickly. He gained a yard. Ryan McBean there defensively for the Broncos.
And the first guy through with penetration was linebacker Mario Hagan. And Bush knows that Hagan is a very integral part of this Bronco defense. In fact, yesterday he told us that we keep our eye on number 57. In fact, he's the red dot guy when we game plan against the Broncos. The other guy's pretty good as a red dot guy for the Broncos is number 55, DJ Williams.
3 receivers set now on a 2nd and goal. Johnny Lee Higgins is in for Oakland. Shotgun formation. Campbell, protection is there. Campbell will throw it away. Pressure came from Hagan that time, which forced Campbell just a bit. He had time initially as he went through his progressions and decided to toss it out of bounds.
Rarely are there big plays this early in the game for a defense to make. Well, this next play is huge for the Broncos. They cannot afford to let the Raiders get in the end zone with a touchdown. They've got to force them to bring out Janikowski for a field goal try.
Dan, these numbers are incredible. Last week they had 179 yards of offense, 9 points, and 10 first downs. They've nearly topped all of those numbers already. 3rd and goal. Fake the handoff. Flags are down. Campbell, moving pocket. Campbell trying to run for it, walking the tightrope.
He got in, but it doesn't count. Illegal motion by Ford. Jacoby Ford was in motion.
Illegal motion, offense, 5-yard penalty.
And the rookie out of Clemson, former track star, called on the penalty. So back it up, one of the few mistakes that Oakland's made so far. They've got 160 yards of offense and 8 first downs.
He's just a little over anxious here. This movement towards the line of scrimmage right there is enough to get him for illegal motion.
So back it up to the 13-yard line. It'll be 3rd and goal for the Raiders, leading 21-0. This is a team that's 9-32 against the AFC West since 2003. Shotgun for Campbell. Here comes the rush. Campbell forced to throw it up in the air and knocked away. Intended receiver Lewis Murphy in a matchup with the rookie Parrish Cox. And the Raiders will have to settle for a field goal try.
Good defensive call that time by Don Martindale, bringing the blitz to the weak side. Watch the blitz coming right here, right at Campbell. Too many men for the Raiders to block, so he sees that pressure by Hagan. He just lets it fly to the back of the end zone. And how about Cox going up and battling and almost coming away with the interception?
Sebastian Janikowski, 14 of 19 this year on field goal tries. And he knocks this one through from 31 yards away. And it's a bit of a mini victory for the Denver defense, all things considered. Now the Raiders are riding the wave. 7 plays, 44 yards. Jason Campbell, what did he tell us? Hugh Jackson came to him, the offensive coordinator, and said, look, we need you to lead this team. They talked about rhythm, just like you discussed early in this game, and he has looked very much in rhythm so far. Campbell in this Raiders offense as Janikowski kicks it off. And yet another touchback for Denver. Don't miss fantasy football today postgame. That's live tonight at 7:30 Eastern, the web's only Sunday night fantasy postgame show, and it's on CBSSports.com.
I think that Hugh Jackson is getting Jason Campbell's best right now. 4 out of 7 for 69 yards, but everything that Jackson is calling is being well executed by the offensive line, the running backs, and the receivers for Oakland.
Orton so far 2 of 5, 32 yards and a pick, but went back for a touchdown. On first down, fake the handoff, and Orton forced to get rid of it as the pressure came from Trevor Scott. And the Broncos offense looks completely out of sorts right now. And the line judge just went down. Crashed in by Richard Seymour.
Boy, that can't be fun. Seymour, 310 pounds.
Mark Steinkirchner.
Seymour was going after the ball. He thought it might have been a backwards pass. And Tim Tebow is going to get his second shot of the swamp package the Broncos like to call the Wildcat.
And Kyle Orton sets up as a receiver on the far side. Tebow on the pitch. Moreno, they're not fooling anybody. The Raiders completely prepared for it. Quentin Groves holding steady and no gain on the play. Let's go back to that issue with Seymour and the line judge.
Well, here's Seymour. He sees the ball on the ground. He doesn't know if it's forward or backwards. He picks it up, and ooh, this is not going to be a good sight right there. But the official did cause a fumble from Seymour.
He's a big hitter.
He's got glasses on, too. You're supposed to hit a guy with glasses, are you?
I wear glasses, Dan. 3rd and 10. Orton is sacked. Cameron Wembley. The Oakland Raiders, they've got the Midas touch on both sides of the football.
And the Broncos are playing as if they're in a state of shock. They're glue-footed. They're just not performing at all, and they're not protecting the quarterback, and nothing that Josh McDaniels is calling has got even a half a chance of working right now.
Britton Colquitt, the punter, with Nick Miller deep, standing at his own 35-yard line. 24-0 Oakland with 3 minutes and counting left in this first quarter. High punt, Miller backpedals, catches at the 28, makes a man miss, up the middle. And Miller with a strong return out across the 40-yard line. It's a 57-yard punt, 15-yard return. Broncos in big trouble as we head to New York and check in with JB.
Hey, I am not displaying the Midas touch with San Diego as a result of its fumble. Tom Brady capitalizes. Play action, hooks up with Rob Gronkowski. That 1-yard strike capping a 5-play, 22-yard drive. New England on top, 7-3. Back to Iron Eagle, Dan Fouts.
Now Rob Gronkowski, his brother Dan Gronkowski, is a backup tight end here with the Denver Broncos. San Diego at 2-4. Yeah, they're known as slow starters, but boy, you're not getting the feeling that this year they're going to be able to get out of that hole. Campbell play fake. Campbell fires, and open man. Lewis Murphy brings it in, and another big gain for Oakland. Throwing at the rookie Parrish Cox. That one covers 20 yards.
And great pass protection for the Raiders and Jason Campbell. The Broncos bring some pressure here. That means man-to-man on the outside. Good patience on the route by Murphy. Good sharp movement after the break, coming back to the ball. And how about this throw, the fadeaway strike from Jason Campbell.
Campbell now 89 yards through the air. They are in Denver territory. To the ground game. McFadden stays on his feet, and McFadden angled out of bounds. It was Cox who missed initially on the former Arkansas star. 4-yard gain for Darren McFadden. Well, McFadden's put up big numbers. Staying on the field has become the issue for McFadden at this level, averaging 98 yards rushing per game, but has missed the last 2 games after suffering a hamstring injury against Houston.
Well, he looks 100% today, though.
2nd and 6. Campbell, short drop, ball knocked up in the air, and Miller trying to bring that one in as the ball was tipped by Hunter at the line of scrimmage. Incomplete.
Broncos defensively have had opportunities on back-to-back plays to make big plays. Cox mixes the tackle there. Now watch Hunter get up in the air. He's 6'4", gets both hands on this ball, and Zach Miller almost makes the reception on the other end.
Now a 3rd and 6, 184 total yards. That's 5 yards better than they had all of last week in 4 quarters against San Francisco in the Battle of the Bay. Campbell, protection is there. Strong throw to the sideline. Jacoby Ford has got a first down for Oakland. 9-yard hookup through the air.
How about the youngster from Clemson working against the All-Pro Champ Bailey? Sharp route, goes high in the air. Ford, only 5'9", comes down with that catch, and it's another first down for the Raiders.
Down to 1:14 to play in this first quarter. Line of scrimmage is at the 24. McFadden finds a crease and spins his way for a 3.5-yard gain. Marcus Thomas with the tackle for Denver. Broncos are missing their 8-time Pro Bowler, Brian Dawkins. What a helpless feeling that is for the leader of this defense.
And in the secondary, they're also missing Andre Goodman, Darcel McBath, and their outstanding outside linebacker, Robert Ayers. So the Raiders taking advantage of some backups for Denver.
2nd and 7. There's no pity in the NFL, though. Raiders are more than happy to take advantage. Give is to McFadden. McFadden, chunks of real estate as he continues to chew up this Denver defense. That's a 12-yard pickup.
It's like the old days, running left behind Upshaw and Art Shell. This is the new version. Veldier and Gallery. How about McFadden averaging 10 yards a carry?
Did you just have a flashback of some sort?
On that interception by Chris Johnson, looked a lot like me throwing to Lester Hayes.
End of the first quarter here in Denver. Oakland 24, the Broncos nothing. You're watching the NFL on CBS. What a difference 7 days make. Last week, the Oakland Raiders could not finish on offense against the San Francisco 49ers in a winnable game. And this week against Denver, it's clicking. 1st and goal, first play, 2nd quarter. 7th play of the drive. On the handoff, Darren McFadden, touchdown. Flag on the play.
Yeah, it looks like holding against the Raiders.
Holding, offense number 80. 10-yard penalty, first down.
And it is the tight end, Zach Miller. That will nullify that touchdown run for McFadden.
Yeah, the Raiders bring in Khalif Barnes again to be the extra blocker on the offensive line. And McFadden cutting all the way to the outside here. Here's Miller on the line of scrimmage. McFadden starts off to the right, then sees the block by Miller holding on Mario Hagan and gets to the end zone, but it comes back.
So back it up to the 19-yard line. Still 1st and goal, though, for Oakland. Bush is in the backfield. Helping out in blocking. Campbell throws. End zone. Incomplete. Marcel Reese releasing. And the intended receiver, the big fullback, at 6'3", 240 pounds. 2nd and goal coming up.
You know, the Raiders only have Zach Miller as their tight end. Brandon Myers out with a concussion here. Good block that time by Michael Bush as he takes Marcus Thomas down. But what they can do, though, by bringing in Khalif Barnes, in effect, they get another tight end and a better blocker than Brandon Myers would be.
Raiders have dropped 13 of their last 18 on the road, but 2 of those wins came against Denver here at Invesco. 2nd and goal. Campbell outside, and Miller, he got stuck out on the perimeter by Nate Jones, the safety. Incomplete.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate for Zach Miller because he was wide open early. Campbell late with the ball, then he threw it high, and that allows Jones, 33, to come like a bullet, knock that ball loose. Good, clean hit. Of course, a lot of emphasis on the hits by defensive backs on defenseless receivers. You could have.
Each team was sent a DVD by the NFL with examples of illegal and legal hits. Coaches were required to show it to their players. On a 3rd and goal, Campbell deep drop, set up the screen. McFadden, he's got room, and McFadden, second effort, touchdown Oakland. Darren McFadden looking like an all-pro. Ronaldo Hill tried to save the touchdown, and McFadden just kept on coming.
At about the 4-yard line, he ran over Parrish Cox. Cox missed the tackle earlier in this drive. This is a great play call, too. The screen against the blitz, out in front of Satelli. There's the shot right there. Cox misses, and Ronaldo Hill cannot keep McFadden out of the end zone. Wow!
$31-0. 9 plays, 57 yards. The Oakland Raiders are putting on an exhibition. Darren McFadden, 63 yards rushing, 31 yards receiving. He's got a touchdown on the ground, a touchdown through the air. And Oakland with a 31-0 lead over Denver. Janikowski kicking it off. Thomas couldn't handle it initially. Now he's got to take it out. He's forced to after mishandling the kickoff. And Denver has been deep in its own territory at the 10 as Johnny Lee Higgins gets down the field.
You know, I know Halloween's next week, but this kind of feels like Halloween for the Broncos, the way they're playing.
It sure does. It has been more of a trick than a treat. So the muff here as the ball popped loose. And now Thomas doesn't have a choice.
No, he's got to chase it out of there and got to make sure he gains possession. By that time, he could only get to the 10.
Handoff, Moreno, 1-yard gain. Nothing is working offensively for Denver. Mike Mitchell with a tackle. Saturday, the Home Depot SEC on CBS brings you a huge rivalry game. The Florida Gators take on the Georgia Bulldogs. It all begins with TIAA Prep College Football today. That's live at 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on CBS. Early stages, second quarter. Oakland 31, Denver nothing. 2nd and 9. Eddie Royal in motion. Now sets up in the slot. Flag down. Orton throws and nobody home. He was looking for Royal, but penalty marker on the play. It's going to work against the Broncos. First penalty against Denver here today.
Illegal shift, offense. 2 men moving prior to the snap, did not reset for a second. Penalties decline. 3rd down.
Well, Josh McDaniels talked about Oakland having the best talent, most physical, fastest team in the NFL. And if you look at the numbers, everything he said is correct.
Yeah, the Broncos right now are looking at a team that is on pace to score 120 points today.
That's true. Quick math. 31-0 Oakland. 3rd and 9 for the Broncos. Daniel Graham, the tight end, is parallel to Orton. They'll show short ball to Thomas, who turns it upfield and comes up short of the first down. Quentin Groves there with the tackle. Fans reacting. And this has been building over the course of this first half. The way things have unfolded, Broncos forced to punt.
Yeah, these fans were so excited. Home fans always get excited when the Raiders come to town, and the game where both teams have the same record. Here you are at home and absolutely playing as if you don't even know how to play the game.
Colquitt. High punt. Nick Miller. And Miller with a spin move towards the sideline and forced out of bounds after the 54-yard punt. This series goes back to 1960. You want to talk about flashbacks, Dan? Right there. You remember any? Broncos and Raiders doing it again. The 100th regular season meeting right now. Oakland dominating. Loveland, Colorado, officially the opening of ski season, and it's as if the Broncos have been hit by an avalanche in this first half. 31-0 Oakland.
Yeah, don't show that video to the fans here. They may have second thoughts about the second half.
Yeah, good point. If they know the slopes are open. 24 points, the most points that Denver has ever given up in a quarter. That happened in the first, and the Raiders have been able to add to their lead. Raiders now have the football with a 1st and 10 at the Oakland 31. 13:04 to play, first half. Michael Bush comes out of the backfield, and Campbell to throw it. Flags down, play never happens.
False start, offense number 68. 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's 3 false starts for Jared Veldier. A good job blocking. He's just having trouble with the snap count of Jason Campbell. See Robert Gallery talking to him.
And Gallery trying to encourage Veldier, who's a 3rd-round pick. Gallery was the number 2 pick in the 2004 draft out of Iowa.
Veldier may be confused by all the ink on Gallery's arms, though.
You think that's it?
I hope not.
Gallery has rounded into a fine guard. And Bush gets the call. Diving for a 1-yard gain. Jamal Williams there defensively, along with DJ Williams, no relation.
Really good balance for the Raiders. Obviously, they're off to a fantastic start, but they have 111 yards rushing already and 117 yards passing. Perfect balance.
Well, that power running for Oakland, last 2 trips to Denver. Hugh Jackson was not the coordinator, but they had 158 yards on the ground and then 241 yards on the ground. And now, if you're Hugh Jackson, pick your poison. Everything has been working. And it's Ford on the end around. He's got track speed. Jacoby Ford breaking it to the outside. And the Raiders reacting along that sideline. 23 yards. This has been a clinic.
And a disaster. Not really that much of a fake. Good blocking. I think that's the key for the Raiders today. They've called good plays at the right time. Watch this contact on the sidelines.
Oh, boy.
That's a good legal hit, as that's his right shoulder to the shoulder, and that is not a defenseless player either.
Now the NFL, of course, cracking down on violent hits. Fines as high as $75,000 this week. Campbell in the pocket. And he's got a safety valve. Michael Bush with a good grab and a first down. Michael Bush with the snare and the run after the catch, covering 13 yards.
Great pocket awareness by Jason Campbell. Watch as he just slides around in the pocket and waits for his receiver to come open. After the play fake to Bush, little step up there, now stepping up into the pocket, keeping his eyes down the field. At 6'5", he sees over the line of scrimmage very easily. Had good feel for pocket that time.
And a timeout, 11:50 mark, second quarter. Raiders pitching the shutout. The Rocky Mountains here in Denver, Colorado, and the Broncos have a tough climb here. Now 31-0 to the Oakland Raiders. And Jason Campbell has looked very impressive so far, and very comfortable, Dan.
Well, he finds a wide open Zach Miller for 43 yards. That got the Raiders going in that first quarter, and this was a perfect call by Hugh Jackson. The screen against the blitz, McFadden gets in. 8 of 14 for Jason Campbell, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, no sacks either.
Darren McFadden in the backfield. He's put up good numbers so far, nearly 100 yards combined. Campbell throws, high throw, almost picked off. He was looking for Zach Miller. Nate Jones was back there, had an opportunity at the pick, and Oakland fortunate that they didn't turn it over.
Yeah, he wanted to go to his receiver on the right side of the field, came back late to Zach Miller, and just as we're talking about no interceptions, almost throws one to Nate Jones. Zach Miller with a great effort to go up there and try to make that catch, but in doing so, he made it difficult for Jones to keep his eye on the ball and make the pick.
So now 3rd and 11 for the Raiders. Shotgun Campbell. That late rush, and he's thrown down by DJ Williams. Finally some signs of life from this Denver defense.
Yeah, that's 3.5 sacks on the season for DJ Williams, and he told us that this is the way he's gotten all his sacks. Coming late, here he is right here, and he's reading the back. He's reading McFadden. As soon as McFadden blocks up, as he did there, then he is coming after the quarterback. Great reaction by DJ Williams.
And the only player in the NFL that currently leads his team in tackles and sacks. Shane Leckler, the punt. Saquon Thompson is deep. This one will bounce and rolls towards the sideline out near the 13-yard line of Denver. 36-yard punt. DJ Williams trying to get this crowd going and trying to give Denver something to build on. Invesco Field at Mile High. It holds 76,125. And these have not been happy fans in this first half. The Oakland Raiders with a 31-0 lead. Here in the second quarter, no Sean Moreno. As Denver's trying to find some kind of balance on offense, it's a 2-yard gain. First 5 possessions for the Denver Broncos.
Well, all of these possessions came after Raider scores.
Denver 4-12 in its last 16 games. Remember, they started the 09 season at 6-0. And they've dropped 3 of their last 4 this season. Orton out of trouble twice. And Kyle Orton trying to make a play. He coughs it up. Tyvon Branch on the recovery.
Big question is now, was his knee down before the ball came out? Josh McDaniels, I'm sure, is asking his coaches up in the booth to take a look at this. We will too. Great job by Orton to escape the pocket here. Mike Mitchell coming over. Right hand on the ball. Ball's out before the knee's down. Raider ball one more time.
So Mitchell with the forced fumble in his second year out of Ohio University. A big hitter. Tyvon Branch will bring size and speed to that safety position. It has been a nightmare for the Broncos. First down, up the middle, McFadden. And he's brought down inside the 10. 5-yard gain.
And on that play, Orton did about as much as you could possibly do. Got away from a couple of those huge defensive linemen for the Raiders. Ducked underneath, trying to get to the first down marker, doing everything he possibly can. Just a great play by Mitchell to punch the ball out with his free hand.
2nd and 5 now for Oakland. Miller goes in motion. Hand off, McFadden. He loses the football. A flag comes down. Fights for it, and guess who's there? The quarterback, Jason Campbell.
And again, it's a case of the Broncos trying to do too much. They had the recovery. One of the players that had it in his hand.
Defense number 76.
Wouldn't have counted anyway.
5-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
Jamal Williams called on the hold.
Can anything else go wrong for the Broncos? Jamal Williams just pulled down Samson Satelli. And here's Nate Jones trying to pick it up. Even if he had, it would have been brought back and placed now inside the 5-yard line. Jones was thinking scoop and score.
First and goal for Oakland now. Just inside the 5. Handoff. McFadden. And McFadden falling forward, hit by Justin Banner. It's a 1-yard gain.
Well, let's take a look at the Oakland possessions for this first half. Just a little bit different than what we saw with the Broncos' first 5 possessions. Great field position because of the turnovers and turning an interception into a touchdown. All Oakland. All Oakland.
Second and goal for the Raiders. 31-0, Oakland in front. Handoff. McFadden through the middle. Touchdown. A complete rout here in Denver.
And stares of disbelief on the Denver sideline. We met with them yesterday, confident group, feeling good about their chances with the Raiders coming in. And now they are bewildered. McFadden, following the block of Marcel Reese, finds just a crack, uses his right hand to keep his balance long enough to get in the end zone.
Defense has done its job for Oakland. Offense has certainly stood out in this first half. It's now 38-0 Raiders. 7:58 to play in the second quarter. Old AFL rivals. And this has been an old-fashioned,
yes,
one-sided affair.
Blankety blank. Gallery with a good kick out there, but I just love the way that McFadden got north in a hurry. Used his right arm to keep his balance, get into the end zone.
Second touchdown for McFadden on the ground. He's got one receiving as well, so a 3-touchdown day for Darren McFadden. We still have nearly 8 minutes to play in this first half. The first 3-touchdown game of McFadden's young career.
Averaging 7 yards a carry. Let's see if the Broncos now will at least give Tim Tebow a shot at running some of that Wildcat offense that they like to call the swamp package. But right now, they got to go back to basics. How about picking up a first down and maybe another first down and then maybe another first down?
They have one first down in this first half. Oakland has 16. Janikowski kicking it out of the end zone. Yet again, his 5th touchback of the afternoon.
He might be getting tired.
Yeah, a little bit. Tomorrow on CBS, Charlie's new woman is smart and beautiful, so why is he getting cold feet? Find out on a new 2.5 Men. That's tomorrow, only CBS. $38-0 Oakland. 7:58 to play, second quarter. Orton remains in there. Campbell 8 of 15, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Will Tim Tebow get an opportunity to actually run the offense and not just run some gadget plays? Up the middle, Moreno with a head of steam. Takes it to the 25.
That crowd is starting to give the Tebow chant. Not exactly what Kyle Orton needs to hear at this moment.
Orton, who's putting up career numbers. Tebow had 6 carries for 23 yards and his first NFL touchdown last week. He was in there for 9 plays, and the Broncos gained 40 yards on those 9 plays in the loss to the Jets. Orton, timing pattern, and broken up. Eddie Royal, the intended receiver. Stanford rout, the man that drew the coverage.
Now, defensive coordinator John Marshall for the Raiders just dialing up every possible blitz against Orton. Orton now just 3 of 9. His 3 completions. One has been to his fullback, Spencer Larson, one to Noshawn Moreno, and only one to a wide receiver, and that was Demaryius Thomas for 6 yards. So this high-flying passing offense being totally shut down by the Raiders.
3rd and 5 now. Out of the gun. Orton. Deep ball. Brandon Lloyd, the intended target. Incomplete. Chris Johnson back there with Lloyd, who has yet to catch a ball. And some pushing and shoving after the incomplete pass.
There's got to be a huge amount of frustration on the Denver side of the field here. Chris Johnson with good coverage here on Brandon Lloyd. Can't get much better than that, but I got to question the play call and the choice by Orton there on 3rd and 5 to throw the ball 30 yards down the field. They need a first down. They don't need a touchdown necessarily, although that wouldn't be bad down by 38.
No. Britton Colquitt to punt. Miller is standing at his own 25-yard line for Oakland. Miller moves forward from the 37. Slowed down initially and was able to pick up a yard, yard and a half on the return. 38-yard punt. Joe Mays making the play on special teams. /mobile to learn more. Oakland Raiders, most points scored in a first half, 42. They've got 38 today, and they may have a couple of possessions left in them.
Well, the way that they're playing on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, I would say they're going to have a couple more chances to break that record.
They played in 5 straight games that were decided by 8 points or less. This one is a 38-point disparity. Michael Bush banged down after the 5-yard pickup by Ryan McBean. Under 7 minutes to go now in this second quarter. See a trend here? Scoring.
Yeah, scoring. I don't know what this word here is.
Yeah.
You know, that word. We'll just take that out totally, and you add it all up. It's 38 zip.
The numbers: 265 yards, 147 on the ground, 118 through the air. And they've limited Denver to 55 yards of total offense. 2nd and 5. Campbell on the give. And Bush picks up 3.5, 4 yards on the play. Bannon will be given credit for the stop. It brings up 3rd and short. Now this Denver team just has to be despondent. Home game, crowd charged up. Josh McDaniels talking about divisional play this week. It's a new season for Denver. First divisional game, and it comes week 7. And then think about what's coming up. They've got to go to London to play the San Francisco 49ers. So you get thrown off your normal routine, and that's in the offing. 3rd and 1 for Oakland. Campbell fakes the handoff. Pressure coming. Campbell is sacked, and a flag down. Jason Hunter.
Holding offense number 45. Penalties decline. 4th down.
So the Raiders will punt for the 2nd time in this first half.
Couple of sacks the last 2 possessions for the Raiders. This play just took too long. The blitz was absolutely perfectly timed, called by Wink Martindale. And Hunter gets in there for his 2nd sack of the year. The Broncos not sacking the quarterback. That's 9 on the season. Only 1 from a defensive lineman.
The rookie out of Cal, Sidquan Thompson, is the return man off the foot of Shane Leckler. Thompson muffed it, able to scoop it up. And Thompson, he loses it again. Battle for the loose ball. And looks like Denver has recovered it. This has been a comedy of errors for the Denver Broncos in the first half.
Heads up here, coming in at the bottom of the pile is David Bruton with that recovery. But he fumbled twice on the same play. Been that type of day for the Denver Broncos. The first pass play by Orton intercepted by Chris Johnson, taken to the end zone. Then the next offensive play for the Broncos. Rookie Demaryius Thomas fumbles. Orton trying to make a play. He fumbles. Wow.
1st and 10 at the 32. Orton short drop, and the throw to Gaffney.
Boy, he can't hang on. You're going to give him a reception, but the ball was knocked out of his hands by Chris Johnson. I know it's called a pigskin, but this ain't the county fair.
No. So it's ruled incomplete now. 2nd and 10.
Good pass by Orton. There's the catch. I think that's a reception. If I'm the Broncos, I would challenge it. Why not?
Well, it doesn't look like Josh McDaniels is on the same thought process right now. A 2nd and 10 for Denver. Under 5 minutes to play in this first half. Shotgun, Orton. Steps, throws, and catch made by Gaffney. And there's a first down for Denver. 17 yards out near midfield. And almost a sarcastic reaction, I would think, from these Denver fans right now. But they just saw a positive play.
Well, just the 2nd first down. They've been saving up to cheer for the Broncos. Been a long time since the pregame warm-ups. Great catch by Gaffney. And that's what obviously the Broncos need.
From the gun. And Orton's pass incomplete. No Sean Moreno. Can't sell that one. He didn't bring it in cleanly.
You know, the pressure that the New York Jets put on the Broncos last week, I think the Raiders are taking a page out of the Rex Ryan defense, the pressure defense, the blitzing, to throw Orton off his normal timing. He looks very uncomfortable. He's been pressured a lot today. It just doesn't look like the same Denver passing offense today.
And this is an Oakland team that had a tough loss last week. We talked to Richard Seymour about it. He said by Wednesday, you've got to move on. You can't hold on to the previous games. He told that to all the young guys on the defense. Turn the page. Play clock down to 1. They get the play off. Orton up in the air. Contact. As Eddie Royal was battling for position, there were 3 Raiders back there defensively. And no flag on the play.
There's a contact on Eddie Royal down the field there. That should have been called something. Holding on Stanford route. The official saw how far that ball was off target and must have decided it was uncatchable, but that was more holding than pass interference.
This is a good Oakland secondary. Stanford route has improved. We know about Asamoah, Branch, and Huff. Good combo at safety. Orton rifles to Royal. And Eddie Royal stays on his feet for a first down. Out across the 30-yard line. Branch did not make the stop initially. Did that ball pop loose?
Yes, it did. And the Raiders, Michael Huff says, hey, man, I got the ball. The official comes in and says, no, he was down before the ball came loose. Another first down for Denver. This could be a turning point in this game, Ian.
Really?
Well, you said sarcasm, didn't you?
Yeah. I didn't know it was going to make its way to the booth. First and 10 for the Broncos. Trailing 38-0. Orton pump fake. Orton, so much room, and slides down just inside the 15-yard line. 14-yard pickup for Kyle Orton. And Denver now moving with a purpose here, going no huddle.
This is the type of tempo that Josh McDaniels told us they were going to employ from the get-go today, but the 2 turnovers in the first 2 plays have taken the Broncos out of their original game plan, but now they're finally finding a little bit of rhythm with the up-tempo.
And by far best drive of this first half for Denver. Handoff goes through the middle. Moreno picks up 2. That has been a huge issue for the Broncos. They are dead last in the NFL in rushing, as the Broncos come in averaging 67 yards per game on the ground. They're third in passing, 311 through the air.
Yeah, just 39 yards so far, and Orton has picked up most of it.
On a 2nd and 8, we've seen Moreno out there. We have not seen Lawrence Maroney, and have not seen Correll Buckhalter. And there has not been a whole lot of running because of the scoreboard. Shotgun. Orton throws. Catch is made underneath by Gaffney. And that's a 5-yard pickup for Denver. Stanford route there defensively for Oakland, along with Mike Mitchell.
One of the obvious advantages to playing here at Mile High is the altitude, and you do wear down your opponent with an up-tempo offense, and it appears that the Broncos are able to do that now to the Raiders.
Coming up, Sprint halftime report. JB and company, the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's coming up on the Sprint halftime report. 3rd and 3 on the 7-yard line for Denver. Broncos trying to get on the board. 2 minutes to play in this first half. 5 receivers set. Orton throws. Catch made by Moreno. Touchdown, Denver.
I just love that play selection. Moreno was out wide, guarded by middle linebacker Rolando McClain. McClain ran into defensive back Chris Johnson, and Moreno walks into the end zone. That was really a well-designed play and a heck of a 68-yard drive in 9 plays for Denver, just what they needed.
Matt Prater on for the extra point. (38-7). Oakland in front.
Take a look at how well this play was designed. Right here, Brandon Lloyd, and outside, this is the matchup you always want to see, a running back on a linebacker. And McClain is so far off. I think he's a little bit worried about this. But great job by Lloyd running his man Johnson into the linebacker. And Tom Cable not happy at all about the Raiders giving up a touchdown there.
Well, it basically acted as a pick as Lloyd was able to continue with his route, and Moreno just shot through for the opening and the touchdown.
A legal pick because the two defenders ran into themselves and not an offensive player running into a defender.
Absolutely. Kyle Orton now 7 of 17, 90 yards, a touchdown and a pick. If you want to look through history, is this something that Denver can come back from? Largest come from behind victory was 24 points back in 1979 against Seattle, a former divisional foe.
Yeah, Raiders are expecting an onside kick, which would be too bad of an idea for Denver. They could use something positive to build upon that touchdown.
Ford is deep. And Prater's going to kick it off all the way to the end zone. Ford will take a knee. Raiders will have it at the 20 with 1:56 to go in this first half.
Pair of timeouts there for Denver.
And a pair of circles. We're a mile high in Denver, Colorado, the capital of Colorado. That's Pikes Peak out near Colorado Springs. We asked Tom Cable, who actually served as an assistant coach at Colorado, offensive line coach, about his time here in this area. He said, by far the best place I've ever lived. His face lit up when we asked him about this area, didn't it?
Yeah, he's an outdoorsy type of guy, and he loved his time in Boulder.
Well, he loves his time in Denver right now as well, the way Oakland's played, as Bush is toppled over, picks up 6 yards, and Denver will use a timeout with 1:48 to go in the second quarter. Coming up, don't forget, Sprint Halftime Report. James Brown, the rest of the crew. Scores and highlights around the NFL. That's coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report. Try to figure this league out week in and week out.
There's no way. And this is the most bizarre of a very bizarre season so far.
And a very bizarre day in the NFL.
A lot of upsets in the NFL today. Not sure that this one would go down as an upset. It's more of just a bizarre happening.
Right now, Jared Valdir is in at center, and Mario Henderson is at left tackle. Satele is out with a concussion, and he will not return. Very close to a first down. Michael Bush down to 1:36 and counting in this first half.
So here you've got Zach Miller basically playing tackle on the end of the line of scrimmage. All the way to the other side, you see Langston Walker as a tight end. So Hugh Jackson having to make some very significant moves along that offensive line, especially now with Satele out for the rest of the game.
Miller would be the lightest tackle in the NFL at 255.
There he is again.
And Walker would be the heaviest tight end at 360. They do give him the first down at the 30. Big Michael Bush met by Marcus Thomas. 1 yard gain. We're under a minute to go now. And Sprint Halftime Report. They'll be handling all of these headlines around the NFL, including the Pittsburgh Steelers. Controversial win, though, for Pittsburgh. You and I were watching it here in the booth. More on that coming up. Titans continue their dominance over the NFC. The Cleveland Browns upset the New Orleans Saints, and Baltimore in overtime surviving a scare against Buffalo. Inside handoff, it's Reese. And Reese cutting to the outside. He's tripped up from behind. And it looked like Reese was going to get extra yardage. Zach Miller with a good block to help spring Reese free for a couple extra yards. And that's going to do it for this first half. The Oakland Raiders. What a performance here in Denver. 38-7. Tom Cable's team in front of the Broncos. We'll come back with a Sprint halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Storylines in the first half. Turnover troubles for the Denver Broncos, and it cost them dearly. Oakland Raiders taking advantage, and on offense, yes, dominance for the Raiders on the road here in Denver. Oakland with a 38-7 lead as we get you ready for second half action from Invesco. Ian Eagle along with Dan Fouts, and boy, the Oakland Raiders, they came to play. I'm not sure the Broncos were prepared for this, Dan.
Well, you know, everything that the Broncos tried in that first half absolutely backfired. You got the All-State points of protection. Obviously, the Raiders have got to protect this 31-point lead. Denver fumbled 5 times in the first half. They lost 2 of them. The other turnover was turned into an interception for a touchdown by Chris Johnson. Everything going Raiders' way. They have deserved this big lead right now so far. And the big thing now for Denver, having scored at the end of the first half, let's see if they can build on that little bit of momentum here to start the second.
And Janikowski kicking off, and this one actually does not reach the end zone, as Eric Decker is the return man, and Decker out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Mike Mitchell chasing him down, a 22-yard return. Numbers at the half: 275 yards of offense for the Oakland Raiders. Denver could only muster 122 yards, 3 turnovers, time of possession nearly double in favor of Oakland.
And obviously the big point is the points off turnovers. The Raiders have capitalized on all these gifts given by the Denver Broncos.
The line of scrimmage is the 36-yard line. Out of the gun, Orton, rush coming, and Orton is a dead duck. Rolando McClain came firing through that linebacker position to bring down Kyle Orton.
Just the second sack on Orton this afternoon, but on the end of the line of scrimmage is Rolando McClain. This is a type of impact play that defensive coordinator John Marshall is looking for from the #1 pick. Trevor Scott coming from the other side, so they will split that sack in half, as they almost split Orton in half.
A loss of 9 on the play. Oakland's been exclusively in the dime package on defense. Orton's got plenty of time. Throws over the middle, Jabbar Gaffney. And a first down to the 49-yard line, 22 yards on the hookup.
You know, Brandon Lloyd was shut out last week by the New York Jets, caught 4 big passes in the second half. He has no catches in the first half this afternoon. Orton has been able to find Gaffney a couple of times, and Eddie Royal, that's a big hookup right there out to midfield.
Just underway in this third quarter, 38-7, Oakland leads it. Orton one-on-one and trying to get Brandon Lloyd involved in a flag thrown. Chris Johnson, the guilty party.
Pass interference, defense number 27, automatic first down.
You know, Johnson had real good coverage on Lloyd down the sidelines, but at the end when the ball is coming in, check out number 37. He's going to shove Lloyd right there, and that draws the flag. It stopped Lloyd from getting on down the field. A 24-yard penalty on Chris Johnson.
6 penalties against Oakland, costing the Raiders 54 yards. Came in today leading the NFL in penalty yards this season. From the gun, Orton, screen, Moreno, no shot, Moreno, he's in, touchdown Denver. And a quick strike to open up the second half.
That's a great call by Josh McDaniels. Very similar to the touchdown that Darren McFadden got on a screen pass in the first half. Orton gets the ball out to Moreno, and Moreno, because the Raiders are in man-to-man defense, they've got a lot of guys with their back to him. Watch the acceleration right here. Route is turned around. He's looking at Eddie Royal. Never sees Moreno go right by him because he's in man-to-man coverage.
Second receiving touchdown for Moreno. And Prater tacks on the extra point. 3 plays, 64 yards. The Denver Broncos trying to climb back into it against the Raiders. Third quarter. 27-yard touchdown reception for Noshawn Moreno, the second-year running back out of Georgia, his second receiving touchdown of the day. And Denver has cut into this Oakland lead. It's now 38-14. Raiders kicking off to Jacoby Ford. And Ford is not going to take it out. It'll be out to the 20-yard line for Oakland.
Go back to the touchdown. Here's Moreno right here. But look at the man-to-man coverage in the secondary by the Raiders. Once Moreno gets this ball in the hand, he's got blockers out in front, but doesn't really need them because the Raiders have their back to him. Right here, Stanford route. Here's a block there by Daniel Graham. And Moreno with great acceleration and then desire to get into the end zone over two Raiders.
Denver Broncos in their history. Largest comeback was from 24 points down. They trailed today 38-0. Campbell incomplete. He was throwing to Marcel Reese. Reese kept going. Campbell thought he was going to stop outside, and Walker is down on the play. That's big Langston Walker, now in his 9th year at a Cal.
Boy, and if he can't go, Ian, the Raiders are in real trouble offensively. They have Daniel Loper and Bruce Campbell as backups. Looks like it might be a shoulder injury here. Yeah, as Darren McFadden gets in there to help out on Marcus Thomas, and Walker's in big pain.
What a peaceful day out at City Park in Denver. And Wednesday on Showtime, JB, Chris Collinsworth, Phil Simms, and Warren Sapp come your way. It's cable's longest running show, the multi-award winning Inside the NFL, every Wednesday on Showtime. So changes now for Oakland. Walker to the sideline. Remember, no Samson Satelli, forced out of this game with a concussion. So Valdir has shifted from left tackle to center. Mario Henderson is at left tackle, and Khalif Barnes is in at right tackle, replacing Walker. The Raiders face a 2nd and 10. Still early in the 3rd quarter. Campbell, short drop. He's got time, now forced out of the pocket. Campbell on the move, throwing on the run, and caught in traffic. Marcel Reese climbing the imaginary ladder for the first down.
I don't think it was imaginary. I think there really was a ladder there for him to get up so high. What a catch in a crowd. Campbell buying time, sees 45 down the field in front of Mario Hagan. 19 yards on the gain, and what a huge catch for Marcel Reese.
An injured player on the field out along the near sideline. It's Lewis Murphy down.
And a Bronco is down as well. Violent collision on the sidelines.
Murphy ran into Reese, and then Cox also took the brunt of the hit on the back end. Two players shaken up on that play. Lewis Murphy for Oakland and Parrish Cox for Denver. Raiders have it with a 1st and 10 on a pitch to McFadden. And getting to the edge, McFadden turns on the accelerator. Good block by Henderson on that left side. It's an 18-yard gain as they're checking out Parrish Cox along the Denver sideline.
Yeah, the ball's up in the air, intended for Marcel Reese. Murphy comes over and runs into him. And then Cox is behind Murphy. He got his bell rung as well.
By the Denver medical staff. Meanwhile, Cassius Vaughn, rookie out of Mississippi, is checked in along that back line. And McFadden tripped up Mario Hagan there defensively. Time for an NFL Today update. JB in New York.
Ian and Dan, take a look here as Tom Brady hands off to Ben Jarvis Green Ellis for this score, capping a 17-play, 79-yard drive. San Diego still can't get on track. New England on top by 17 late in the 3rd. Ian and Dan.
He's got a lot of names, and he's got a lot of touchdowns. Patriots, they just plug guys in, and it's still successful. McFadden picks up 3 yards on the play. DJ Williams, the collision. Clock is moving. 11:18 and counting left in the 3rd quarter. Oakland 38, Denver 14. Oakland put up 38 points before Denver got on the board, and now the Broncos have scored 2 touchdowns, one at the end of the first half, the second early in the second half. McFadden closing in on 100 yards for the day.
Huge third down for the Denver defense. Crowd comes alive with it.
3rd and 9. Nick Miller is in, top of the screen for Oakland. Zach Miller, the motion man. Campbell on the outside. Miller hauls it in. What a grab. Nick Miller out of Southern Utah.
He beat the rookie Cassius Vaughn, but was he in bounds? Right along the sidelines. The officials say yes, he was at the 9-yard line. Great throw, but Vaughn never turns around, never locates the ball. Murphy goes up, both feet in. First down, Raiders at the 9. Great catch by Nick Miller.
Nick Miller with his first NFL catch. 32 yards.
Had possession too, going to the ground.
And a flag down.
Delay of game.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Now the Broncos finally feeling good about themselves. A 3rd and 9 against Oakland. They bring in unheralded Nick Miller, who makes an over-the-shoulder grab deep downfield to give Oakland a first down and quiets this crowd.
But you go back to all the injuries that the Broncos have in their secondary. They just lose Cox now. They're down Dawkins, Goodman, and McBath. They're running out of players.
Head injury for Cox. His return is questionable. 1st and goal. McFadden. And not much there. He picks up a yard. Thomas there to greet him for Denver.
You know, Cassius Vaughn is a rookie, free agent out of Mississippi. Sidquan Thompson plays corner as well. 7th-round pick out of California. Cox is gone for the afternoon, so Denver has some real problems with their secondary.
Remember, Nate Jones was really a corner that was a swing man, could play safety, and he started because of the injuries to Dawkins and McBath. 2nd and goal for Oakland. Shotgun, Campbell. They handle the rush. Flag is down. Looks like it was a hold. Campbell throws out of bounds.
Yeah, I think they're going to get Langston Walker for holding. Walker had a pretty good grip on the defensive end. Linebacker coming in. That's Jason Hunter.
And Walker back in there after he was banged up earlier on this drive.
Here's Walker, and he's going to come back here and pick up the blitzing linebacker. Jason Hunter, that right hand, that will draw the attention of our referee, Terry McCauley.
Now, Hunter had a great angle. And remember, Broncos lost Elvis Dumervil before the season even started with a torn pectoral muscle, which has pushed Hunter into a starting role. No Dawkins, vocal leader of this defense. 2nd and goal for Oakland. Delayed handoff, McFadden. Little juke move by McFadden. And out towards the perimeter, McFadden able to pick up 15 yards on the run. Marcus Thomas couldn't bring him down. Sidquan Thompson couldn't bring him down.
Well, it's a good draw play by the Raiders, but it's the effort right there. Gets away from Marcus Thomas and then Sidquan Thompson, as you mentioned, Ian. But he's done that all afternoon. He made Parrish Cox mixed a couple of times on similar type of runs. But the Raiders need that type of performance out of McFadden, and they're getting it over 100 yards now for the afternoon.
108, and also career best numbers on the season for rushing. 3rd and goal. Campbell. Short pass caught by Ford, and Ford making a beeline towards the goal line, and he's chopped down. Mario Henderson, good block out front on the left, and didn't quite get there. It's 4th and goal, and he lost his shoe in the process.
Good effort by Jacoby Ford. There's the block by Henderson on Sidquan Thompson. A bit of a mismatch there. Great hustle by Marcus Thomas to keep number 12 6 inches from the goal line.
And they're going for it on 4th down. A little bit of indecision. Play clock is winding down.
Yeah, it is. They're going to have to call timeout.
And they will. Timeout. 7:36 to play in the third. Oakland with an opportunity to add to its already big lead. Back in Colorado, where Oakland leads at 38-14 over Denver. 7:36 to play in the third quarter. 4th and goal inside the 1. Raiders have elected to go for it and not kick the field goal. Right call here, Dan?
I like it.
10th play of the drive. Motion man is Miller. Handoff. Marcel Reese steamrolls in. Touchdown, Oakland.
That's part of the reason why I like it. 240 pounds of Marcel Reese getting in behind 245-pound Michael Bush, right behind Robert Gallery. Mario Henderson on that left side with a great block. And DJ Williams is too late there as Michael Bush cleans him up.
The last time the Raiders put up 40 points in the game, December of 2004 against the Titans. They had 7 offensive linemen in.
Yeah, the other part of that, Ian, is if they don't make it, the Broncos have got to go 99.5 yards for a touchdown.
Oakland 45-14 over Denver. Big lead for Oakland and more injuries for Denver. Parrish Cox walking off. A head injury he suffered on this last drive, and Demaryius Thomas takes a knee. Denver will have it at the 20-yard line. Tonight, the amazing race. Their teams live on the edge as they experience new highs, lows, and everything in between. A new amazing race after 60 minutes. That's tonight, only CBS. 10 plays, 80 yards. The Raiders use 6 minutes off the clock, and Louis Murphy is back on the Oakland sideline. Same play that Cox got injured as when Murphy got injured on a big Reese catch. Orton to Moreno. Had a penalty marker thrown back at the 9.
Hands to the face. Offense number 78. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's Ryan Clady, the Pro Bowler on the left side. Illegal hands to the face.
You know, it happens so often, Ian, is that Clady, he's a 6'6" guy, okay? And it's if he doesn't bend his knees, there you see that left hand right in the face there. That's an easy call. As Cameron Wembley, who goes 6'4", gets a face full of Clady's fist.
First and 20. Here's Orton. And Orton is dumped. Raiders continue to get pressure. Tommy Kelly. Third Oakland sack of the day. Defensive coordinator John Marshall dialing up the pressure.
Well, let's check out the pressure from Kelly. Working against Chris Cooper. And just overpowering Cooper. Couldn't even hold him. And right now, everything the Raiders want to do, they're able to do. Broncos are so demoralized at this point right now.
And it's 2nd and 28 for Denver. Orton out of his own end zone fires, and a slotting attempt by Gaffney. Raiders claim it's incomplete, and they are correct. (45-14) Oakland in front, and you see the pressure that Kyle Orton has been under so far today.
And he hasn't been able to get his big play receiver Brandon Lloyd involved. That ball should have been caught by Gaffney. Came in a little bit low, but he certainly was down there for the ball, just couldn't bring it in.
Orton talked about it. Lloyd talked about it. McDaniels, the fact that this division is so wide open. What a huge game this was. Orton. And it's handled. Great concentration by Gaffney, and he and Tyvon Branch exchanging some words. Not nearly enough for a first down. It covers 10 yards. The Broncos will punt. Just demoralizing, this game, the way it's transpired for Denver and the way it started for Oakland. The early touchdown, then the pick six. Before you looked up, the Broncos were down 14-0. Brandon Lloyd has had one ball thrown to him, and it was a pass interference call.
Yeah, it was a 24-yard penalty against Chris Johnson.
We haven't called Nnamdi Asamoah's name because they don't even challenge him. Nick Miller, the return man. And Miller thrown down. He got caught from behind as he crossed the 40-yard line. 56-yard punt and 11-yard return. Tonight on CBS, a top NASCAR boss goes undercover. But will he win the race? Don't miss an all-new Undercover Boss. That's tonight, only CBS.
I'm not sure I want the boss tightening my lug nuts.
No, what? Yeah, agreed.
Jason Campbell has found 7 different receivers this afternoon and none to Hayward Bay.
Number 85, Darius Hayward-Bay, he's been shut out. Darren McFadden has not been shut out. McFadden busting it to the outside. Touchdown, Raiders. They are pouring it on. And Darren McFadden is having the best game of his professional career. 165 yards, 3 touchdowns rushing, 1 receiving.
And 57 on this play. Zach Miller blocking out in front. Langston Walker. Good hole inside and then just making people miss. Making middle linebacker DJ Williams miss and then outrunning Cassius Vaughn for the corner of the end zone. Career day for Darren McFadden.
Several missed tackles on that play as McFadden turned it upfield and exploded for his 4th touchdown of the day.
They go from being demoralized to being embarrassed. Here's some of those missed tackles. Big hole right up the middle. DJ Williams misses there. And now Nate Jones can't put him down because of the great stiff arm by McFadden. And then the outright speed. Valdir with a real good block there. Might have been called for holding there on Jamal Williams. But off he goes.
Darren McFadden zigzagging his way for yet another touchdown. Sebastian Janikowski has tied a club record with 7 extra points. The last time, Dan, the Oakland Raiders put up 50 or more points in a game, 2002 against the Titans. They won that one 52-25.
And we've got about 20 minutes more left of football.
Rich Gannon was the quarterback that day, our CBS colleague, and Oakland's had a tough time finding a replacement for Gannon since.
Things have not been the same since Rich left the Oakland Raiders due to that neck injury.
McFadden, 16 carries for 165 yards, 3 touchdowns. Janikowski continues to put on an impressive performance on kickoffs. McFadden is averaging over 10 yards per carry. They have tied the team record for most points in a regular season game.
And that's got to make Tom Cable just feel so relieved after that horrible performance against the 49ers 7 days ago.
Take the handoff, Orton to throw. Sideline route. And it's incomplete. Brandon Lloyd, intended receiver. Chris Johnson with the coverage. And tight coverage at that.
This is obviously a very tough situation for Denver, the quarterback. That ball was out. The big hands of Brandon Lloyd. He tried to control it before he hit the ground. But it may be time for Josh McDaniels to think about putting that man in, Tim Tebow, and not expose Kyle Orton to injury.
2nd and 10. From the gun, Orton. Underneath the coverage, complete to Eddie Royal. And Royal able to break free for a moment, but not much there. 3 yards. The Oakland Raiders 2-4 after 6 games for the 4th straight year. They've started the season 2-4, 7 of the last 8 years. Here's the thing. Last week, Dan, if they had gotten a win against San Francisco, they would have gone to the 500 mark after 6 or more games for the first time since 2002. They had an opportunity. 49ers beat them. Orton throwing to Royal, and it's ruled incomplete. And it's 4th down for Denver. Pressure coming from Matt Shaughnessy, and Orton took a hit. And the fans reacting.
Yeah, the fans reacting to the punt team. And I don't blame the fans. But if you got to lose, you're already down 52-14. Might as well go for it.
Britton Colquitt. Nick Miller is standing at his own 24-yard line. Raiders are going to get the ball back. They're putting up video game-like numbers. Short punt. Miller lets it bounce. It rolls towards the sideline and ends up out of bounds around the 32-yard line of Oakland. 45-yard punt. Next Sunday, week 8 of the NFL on CBS. You'll see Jacksonville at Dallas, the 49ers and Broncos in London, or the Titans visiting San Diego. It all begins with James Brown and the rest of our crew on the NFL Today. That's live at noon Eastern right here on CBS. And we want to thank the MetLife Blimp for providing aerial coverage of all the action below. Look for the MetLife Blimp Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2 when they pass through a town near you. First down from the 32. Bush. A couple of spin moves from Michael Bush. And Bush brought down at the 39 after the pickup of 7. Darren McFadden, what a day it's been for this young running back.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns, 3 on the ground, and this one receiving on the screen pass. Great effort there to get in. Good vision that time to find a little crease, and then how about the straight arm and the speed. Fantastic day for number 20.
And nearly 200 yards combined, rushing and receiving for McFadden. Getting a breather along the Oakland bench. So it's Bush getting the call. And not much there for Bush as he picks up a yard and change. Thomas and Williams combined to bring him down. Down to 3:35 and counting left in this third quarter. The Denver Broncos. Not disappointment after last week. They thought they played well enough to win against the Jets. A shotgun snap with 35 seconds left. That sealed it as Orton couldn't recover it. Broncos were trying to come from behind. That was on the heels of a 46-yard pass interference on Ronaldo Hill with 1:26 to go. Bush, 2-yard gain and a first down. TJ Williams the tackle for Denver.
Take a look at some of the individual stats for this ball game. A really solid performance so far for Jason Campbell. Orton has been off target, out of rhythm for most of the day. Sean Moreno, his problems with the running attack continue for the Broncos. Inability to run on offense, inability to stop the run on defense.
And Bush trampled down as he crossed the 45. TJ Williams with another tackle. And we know that the AFC West is not the strongest division in the NFL, but you go to 2-5, the odds are not in your favor that you're going to be part of the postseason.
It looks like San Diego is going to be 2-5. New England with a substantial lead there. 23-6 in the fourth quarter in San Diego. Patriots on top.
Safe to say the wild card is not going to come out of the AFC West this year.
A 500 winner might come out of the AFC West, or 7-9.
Campbell to Zach Miller. And Miller brought down across the 40-yard line. Good numbers for Miller today, including that touchdown to open things up. That one covers 17 yards. And we've seen him playing some tackle here today for Oakland. AFC West standings. Kansas City gets the win earlier to improve to 4-2. If Oakland does get the win, as we suppose they will.
That's a big if, too.
Yeah, well, hey, it's part of the job, Dan.
Is that capital I? Capital F?
Yeah. That would move them to 3-4. with the Seattle Seahawks next on their schedule.
I think Zach Miller ought to go in and renegotiate playing tackle and tight end.
2 salaries?
Yeah.
NFL Today update. Let's go to New York and James Brown.
Ian and Dan, Cleveland got a strong effort defensively today from David Bowens, who had a big day. 2 interceptions, both returned for touchdowns. This being the second one, he brings it back 64 yards of pay dirt in Cleveland's upending of the defending Super Bowl champion New Orleans Saints, 30-17. Let's take it back to Ian Eagle and Dan Fouts.
All right, JB, thank you. That's one of those, you try to figure out this league week in and week out games. Campbell up top, flag down. Johnny Lee Higgins, intended receiver, against the rookie out of Mississippi, Cassius Vaughn.
Pass interference, defense number 41, automatic first down.
Cassius Vaughn was victimized by Nick Miller on the last possession for the Raiders. And now this is so obvious, not looking back for the ball, diving out, grabbing the arms of Johnny Lee Higgins. Prevented the touchdown momentarily.
34-yard penalty as Vaughn heads to the Denver sideline.
That Cassius is not the greatest.
No, not today. 7 offensive linemen, handoff to Bush, and Oakland continues to add to its lead. The Raiders an extra point away from putting 59 on the board. We're in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, I almost think I'm watching the Oregon Ducks playing a game.
Oh, Dan, so
number 1 in the nation, baby.
Unnecessary.
Quack, quack.
.27 seconds to play in the 3rd. Sebastian Janikowski sets a new Raider record with his 8th extra point. Wow. Let's go to New York and JB.
Hey, Ian, Phillip Rivers finally hooks up with Antonio Gates for the first reception of the day for Gates. That coming late in the 4th. 4-yard score. Rivers' 20th straight game with a touchdown. That ties him with the Hall of Famer Dan Fouts for that team mark. 23-13 New England. Back to Ian and the Hall of Famer Dan Fouts.
All right, JB, thanks very much.
Bearer of good news, JB. Thanks.
Yeah.
Every week, Phillip Rivers breaks another record. But they're made to be broken, right, Ian?
Sure. And the Oakland Raiders have set a new record. 59 points, the most in team history. It's the end of the 3rd quarter.
Thanks for reminding me. What time's your flight?
Cassius Vaughn is the deep man.
You almost wonder if this is punishment for Cassius Vaughn. Okay, well, you're not going to have to return anyway. Janikowski's going to put it out of the back of the end zone.
He's been Mr. Touchback today. This one is angled, and it'll roll out of the end zone for Janikowski. Really, the question now is for Josh McDaniels, does he make a change at quarterback, and does he want to see Tim Tebow actually run the offense with a full quarter of play left? 8th touchback of the day, by the way, for Janikowski.
I think Tebow's wondering the same thing.
I think he is.
Put me in, coach.
Came into our meetings and called you Mr. Fouts. You corrected him and said, no, that's my dad. The legendary Bay Area broadcaster Bob Fouts. And then when he left, he called you Mr. Fouts again. Mr. Orton just got sacked by Mr. Seymour.
Yes, I saw that coming.
4th sack of the day for the Oakland defense.
Yeah, here it is, a play action pass, which it mystifies me because the Broncos can't run the ball. Seymour knows that. He's not playing the run. He knows they're going to throw. I'm going to go after the quarterback.
End of the 3rd quarter. The Oakland Raiders with a 59-14 lead over the Denver Broncos. We'll come back after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Oakland puts up 21 points in the third quarter. Now in front of Denver, 59-14. Raiders set a franchise record. Most points scored in a game. They've done it through 3 quarters of play. And the other side of the equation is the Denver Broncos on the wrong end of a thumping. Time of possession nearly double. Penalty marker thrown. And Orton is intercepted by Stanford Routt. And then the ball got knocked loose. 2 penalty flags.
This should be a dead play. Broncos jumped off sides. So that was the first flag. And pass interference against the Broncos is the second flag.
There are 2 fouls in the play. Offside, defense number 99. Personal foul, grasping the face mask, offense number 18. By rule, that's a 5-15. The 15-yard penalty will be assessed half the distance to the goal from the previous spot. Second down.
Lamar Houston jumps into the neutral zone. That's the Raiders being offside, so that nullified the interception. But back them up 5 yards to the 5-yard line now for Denver.
So 2nd and 25 now. Yeah, Eddie Royal got called on that penalty. That's number 19. Just underway, 4th quarter. Iron Eagle, Dan Fouch, rest of our CBS crew. Shotgun formation, Orton throwing too high for Noshawn Moreno. Incomplete. Orton now 11 of 25, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick that went back for a score.
And he's been sacked 4 times as well and harassed throughout the day. Here's Kyle Bowler on the sidelines for the Raiders. Josh McDaniels may think about doing the same with this man, Tim Tebow.
3rd and 25. 3rd quarterback for Denver is Brady Quinn, the former Brown. Incomplete. Trevor Scott with the hit as Orton was trying to hit Eric Decker.
It's been this type of day for Kyle Orton. First pass intercepted for a touchdown and then numerous hits. That time Trevor Scott, ball off target because of the pressure from Scott.
And Britton Colquitt will punt. Came in averaging 45 yards per punt. Nick Miller standing at his own 43-yard line. Raiders will have excellent field position, leading 59-14. And Miller backpedals to the 35. Has some room to work with. And Miller across midfield into Denver territory, brought down to the 49. A 61-yard punt, 17-yard return. Kevin Alexander on special teams making the play. We'll see Kyle Bowler run the Raiders offense in a moment. Denver Broncos, worst loss in team history, 52-point disparity, 1963 to Kansas City. Right now Denver trailing 59-14. Kyle Bowler in at quarterback with a handoff to Michael Bush. Bowler, the former Baltimore Raven and St. Louis Ram. Well, the most points scored, NFL history, Washington Redskins put up 72 in a win over the New York Giants. Our spotter Jim Stamos was a young man and cried after the game.
He's still crying as Sonny Jurgensen hits Charlie Taylor for a couple.
He actually just watched the video. It still bothers him. Rock Cartwright is in for Oakland. Out across the 45-yard line. 13:28 and counting left in this 4th quarter. Jason Campbell, good bounce back for him in your eyes?
Oh, absolutely. 12 of 20, 204 yards, no interceptions. That's the big thing. And he ran well today. Came in with a bad left knee. And Kyle Bowler, very important acquisition for the Raiders. Brad Kowski obviously is their starter with the bad shoulder. He'll be back hopefully for the Raiders next week. But Bowler gives him experience, especially in the Hugh Jackson system.
He knows it from Baltimore. Bowler in the pocket. Now Bowler out of the pocket. And Bowler hit from behind. Loses the football. DJ Williams jarring it loose. The Raiders do recover it, and that is something that plagued Kyle Bowler in Baltimore when he was a first-round pick out of Cal back in 2003.
Good job by, looks like DJ Williams comes over for the strip there.
And Rock Cartwright on the recovery. Yeah, Bowler, of course, trying to make a play and trying to show the coaching staff that he's capable of running this offense. Hugh Jackson having a chat with him along the Oakland sideline, and the Raiders will punt. Saquon Thompson is deep, standing at his own 8-yard line. Shane Leckler is averaging 50 yards per punt this season.
And he plays half of his games at sea level in Oakland.
His numbers would be scary. If he was the Denver Broncos punter, they're going to let this play clock wind down. And now Leckler punts it. Thompson lets it bounce up in the air. Oh, that's incredible. You can't do it any better than that. And it encapsulizes what kind of day it's been for Oakland. Civic Center Park in Denver. This has not been a walk in the park for the Broncos. 59-14. Raiders leading it with 11:59 to go in the fourth quarter. O'Shawn Moreno picks up 3 yards up the gut. Quentin Groves with the stop. For those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS, the game between the Raiders and the Broncos. Ian Eagle along with Dan Fouts. Oakland up big, 59-14. 60 minutes will be seen immediately after the game, except on the West Coast, where it will be seen at its regularly scheduled time. 2nd and 7 for Denver. Kyle Orton remains in the game as Moreno gets the call. And Moreno keeps the legs churning out near the 10-yard line, but short of a first down. Tyvon Branch with the tackle. Halloween? No, that's just the regular garb.
Stealing a little of the Raider thunder there with that outfit, and of course being a nice guy having his Darth Vader in orange just doesn't look the same.
Not quite as menacing, is it?
And would never take a picture with an opposing team's fan.
This guy's popular.
Orange Vader.
Photo ops. 3rd and 2. They didn't come close to getting it. Seymour demolishing Moreno. And 4th down, Denver.
You know, sometimes players spike the ball after they score or make a big play. This is Seymour spiking a tackler. Watch the right hand and then down on the back with help from Mike Mitchell.
What do we take from this for the Oakland Raiders? Is this one of those turn the corner kind of games, and now you think, wow, Oakland could be a factor in the AFC West?
Only if they can build upon it. If they can go out and win next week and continue to play error-free ball as they've played today and take advantage of the turnovers.
Flag down. Colquitt the punt. Miller brings it in. Flag thrown at the 48-yard line as Miller is brought down at the 39. Tackle made by Decker downfield. Terry McCauley has to run across the field to get the word.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 34. 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
More fourth quarter action. Can Oakland crack 60 points here in Denver? We'll find out. Don't forget, 60 minutes coming up immediately after this game, except on the West Coast. Denver with 8 first downs today, 7 punts. Raiders have it. And it's Bowler. Long run for Bowler. Tucked it and took it upfield. 15 yards. All right, let's take you back. AFC Championship game, January 1978. Third quarter, 7-3. Broncos in front. Rob Lytle fumbles while going airborne. Raiders recovered for John Madden for a touchdown. The play was whistled dead, though. The Broncos score on the next play. A 1-yard run by John Keyworth. Broncos held on to win it over Oakland. They eventually lost the Super Bowl to Dallas. By the way, that was John Madden's final game of his coaching career, as Cartwright is there for the carry for Oakland.
Yeah, how did he do after that coaching career? Did he do
know.
okay?
What came of him? What did he end up doing?
Just revolutionized this position as a television analyst, the all-time greatest. I always consider John Madden to be the Babe Ruth of this profession.
Yeah, he is. And video games, for that matter.
You know, you look back at that video and you see number 7, you go, oh, Elway, that was Craig Morton. And it was Craig Morton running the option on that pitch to Keyworth.
And Bowler goes down. He was going to tuck and run once again, but Jason Hunter didn't bite. Let's go to New York. JB with an update.
Ian and Dan, San Diego trailed by 17 to the New England Patriots when Mike Tolbert with a 1-yard TD run helped to narrow the gap down to 3-20 with 1:55 left in regulation. San Diego trying its best not to fall to 2-5. Back to Ian and Dan.
All right, JB, we'll keep an eye on that one. Chargers have just taken possession and trying to come from behind against the New England Patriots. Marcel Reese carrying the pile with him. And out to the 46-yard line for a 5-yard pickup.
Marcel Reese had a pretty good day. He got into the end zone for the first time with a rushing touchdown, his second career touchdown. Made that big catch of 19 yards in the third quarter. Youngster out of Washington.
Under 8 minutes to go now in this fourth quarter. 3rd and 9 for the Raiders. Kyle Bowler is in at quarterback, replacing Jason Campbell, who had a solid day. 12 of 20, 204 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, really no mistakes, as Cartwright goes airborne and gets knocked down to the turf after the 4-yard gain by Jamal Williams. The Raiders are in an interesting position right now on a 4th and 5. They will send Shane Leckler onto the field to punt it. Line of scrimmage is the 42 of Denver. Well, for Tom Cable, it is about consistency for this team. Can they actually get back-to-back wins and put together a winning streak, something this franchise just has not been able to do? Haven't been to the playoffs since 2002. One from Leckler. Fair catch called for. The ball bounced over Thompson's head and penalty markers down. 6:54 to play. Touchback to the 20. Let's see what the flags are.
They're going to back it up 10. The Broncos were holding the gunner for the Raiders.
During the kick, holding the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the 20-yard line. First down, timeout.
More of the fourth quarter when we come back to Denver. Oakland up big. Coming up here on CBS, except on the West Coast, 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately after this one. 59-14, Oakland in front. And Moreno slips down. Matt Shaughnessy touches him up.
Kyle Orton came into the game averaging well over 300 yards passing per game, but the pressure from the Raiders have held him to 152 yards passing, half of what he normally gets in this type of day. Sacked 4 times. First pass of the day was intercepted for a touchdown by Chris Johnson.
Personal foul called against the Oakland Raiders, so Denver will get a first down. Kyle Orton, 11 of 26, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Yeah, I'm sure Josh McDaniels has his reasons, but the curiosity would be, why no Tim Tebow to get an opportunity to go out there and run this offense, not necessarily in the swamp package, but traditional offense.
Or even go further than that and say, hey, why not Brady Quinn?
Yep.
You brought both of them in and see what they can do. But Orton remains.
Fake the handoff. Orton will throw the deep ball. Sliding grab, Brandon Lloyd. He had been shut out until that catch. Chris Johnson in coverage. Long pass play downfield, and the hook up to Lloyd covering 46 yards.
He may be the best in the game at making this type of acrobatic catch. Laying out for that, securing it in those big hands of his. Beautiful throw by Orton as well. 46 big ones.
Well, what did he tell us? He said a lot of guys in the NFL, they want to try to catch that ball in stride and then keep going. Running lane there for Moreno, but Lloyd will absolutely dive because he wants the catch. Most importantly, let's go to New York. Check in with JB.
Ian and Dan. San Diego's Chris Brown was looking to try to tie this game up from 45 yards. A false start, moves it back to the 50, and he gets it up. It's long enough, but he hits the upright. No good. Make that 1 second left in regulation. New England holding to a 3-point lead. Ian and Dan.
And filling in for the injured Nate Kading, Chris Brown had an opportunity to send that game into overtime. We've got an injury here. Chris Johnson is down for Oakland.
Chris Johnson on the sidelines being checked out by the medical staff. He lowered his head on this tackle right there and appears to be okay on the sidelines, but taking extra precaution. Make sure he doesn't have a concussion.
Raiders lost Samson Satelli earlier today to a concussion. Michael Huff is shifted over to corner. And Stevie Brown is in for Oakland. Moreno banged down. He's got a first down just inside the 10. Line of scrimmage will be the 9. First and goal coming up. AFC West standings. Kansas City with the victory. San Diego loses. Give Oakland the win to go to 3-4. And Denver and the Chargers now tied at the bottom of the division at 2-5. Denver's first divisional game here today.
There are only 6 division games. That's why it's so important for the Raiders to have 2 wins and no losses in the AFC West.
First and goal, handoff. Moreno stays on his feet, and Moreno comes up short of the goal line. Trevor Scott helped make sure of it along with Stevie Brown. The fantasy numbers: Carson Palmer 3 touchdowns and over 400 yards. Ryan Fitzpatrick 4 touchdowns in that overtime loss to Baltimore. McFadden, the #1 rusher, with 3 touchdowns, 165 yards on the ground. Ryan Terrain in a victory for Washington, $125. Kenny Britt didn't start for Tennessee, but he showed up. 225 yards and 3 touchdowns.
He finished.
He sure did. Moreno. He didn't get there. Third and goal. Desmond Bryant among those there defensively. Under 4 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. Don't forget, 60 Minutes is coming up. Except on the West Coast, it will be seen in its entirety immediately after this one is over. 59-14 Oakland. Fake the handoff. Orton to throw. And broken up. The linebacker, Ricky Brown. It's fourth down.
Interesting play selection from just a yard out to go with the play action pass. Talk about lack of confidence in your offensive line and your running attack. Brown's right in the middle here, 57. Watch him get his hand on this ball. It appeared that Gronkowski was open in the back of the end zone. Good play by Brown.
On fourth and goal, Orton now will shift. Shotgun. Orton, that ball was tipped. And Denver comes up empty. Rolando McClain.
There's McClain right here, directing traffic, reading the quarterback's eyes. Look at him just slide over there. He's upset he didn't pick it off because he might have scored if he had.
You're right.
I'm sure the Broncos wouldn't have been all that interested in chasing them down either.
So the Raiders take over at the 1 with 3:22 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Kyle Bowler under center, and Bowler does it himself, trying to create some extra space with a 2-yard pickup. Jason Campbell today looks sharp.
Yeah, only missed on 8 throws out of 20. Got the Raiders started with that pass to Zach Miller, and then Darren McFadden with his 1 receiving touchdown of the afternoon, go along with 3 rushing touchdowns. Nick Miller with his first NFL catch was a beauty down the sidelines. But big confidence booster for Jason Campbell today.
But just in talking with Tom Cable, if Gradkowski is healthy, you get the sense he's going to get the job back. Marcel Reese, first down for Oakland. Gronkowski out with the right shoulder injury, and coming up for the Oakland Raiders, they will be back home for Seattle. Look at this schedule, though. The opportunities are there. Kansas City, big divisional game, then the bye week at Pittsburgh, Miami, and at San Diego. The Oakland Raiders, could they be a factor in the AFC West? We will hit the 2-minute warning here in Denver. Oakland, they'd love to bottle this one. 59-14. What a picture here in Denver as the sun comes down. Disappointment for the Broncos today, right from the very start. 59-14, Oakland leads it. All they have to do is take a knee. And Oakland decides to hand it off instead to Rock Cartwright. What's coming up for Denver? A long trip is what's coming up to London. We'll have the game for you here on CBS when the Broncos take on the San Francisco 49ers at Wembley Stadium.
So they will practice at home until Thursday, and then they will fly to London, which is from here probably an 8-hour flight, I would think, and then get ready. But they want to get all their work done here in Denver, make sure that they're prepared because of the potential distractions in London. Talk about distractions. They were distracted today.
And Bowler takes a knee. They're going to treat it like a Monday night game in terms of their schedule. The executive producer of the NFL on CBS is Sean McManus. The vice president of production of CBS Sports is Harold Bryant. The producer of today's game, Bob Monsbach. Today's game is directed by Suzanne Smith. Coordinating producer of the NFL on CBS, Lance Barrow. Coordinating producer of CBS Sports, Steve Karasik. Associate directors of today's game, Jonathan Siegel and Alana Campbell. Broadcast associates, Eric Spitzer and Adam Holtzman. Technical manager, Dean Walker. Technical director, Terry Rosich. And the audio supervisor, Dave Grunvik. A blowout in Denver. The Oakland Raiders set a franchise record with 59 points, and they dominate the Broncos at Invesco. 59-14, the final. Don't forget, coming up tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes, followed by new episodes of The Amazing Race, Undercover Boss, and CSI Miami. For Dan Fouts, the rest of our crew, this is Ian Eagle saying so long from Denver.